Chapter 9.8 Group Test. For number 1, I would break the 75 as 25 times 3. And we have a square root of 25, that is 5. Square root of 3 remain inside. So your answer is 5 square root 3. For number 2, you divide 8 on both sides. X plus 1 square equals 4. Take square root on both sides to remove the square, and you got the square root of 4. X plus 1 equals plus or minus 2. So you're going to have two equations. X plus 1 equals 2 and x plus 1 equals negative 2. You're going to subtract 1 on both sides. X equals 1 and x equals negative 3 would be your answer. So for question number 3, you're going to write the equation in vertex form given the graph below. In this equation or this question, we are going to only find the vertex because we did not learn how to find the equation. So the vertex is going to be negative 1, 3. For question number 4, the formula is given like that. We are going to find out the A, B, and C. So we know that on the bottom we should have always 2 times A. So the A should be 3. And in here or here you should have a B. So B should be 6. So if 3 is A, B is 6, then this number 4AC, so C would be negative 7. Now to find the equation in a standard form, you're going to plug it in A, B, and C in here to find the equation. So 8 times x squared would be 3 times x squared plus 6 times x minus 7. For number 5, you're going to find the x values or x-intercepts by using the cross method because we are using factoring. On top of it, it goes is negative 16 and on the bottom is negative 6. You're looking for two numbers. When you multiply, you get negative 16. When you add, you get negative 6. Write these two numbers into factor form. Make sure you put this equation or this function equal to 0 first because we're going to apply the zero product property. Put these factor equal to 0, 1 by 1. Plus 8 on both sides, you got x equals 8. Negative 2 on both sides, you got x equals negative 2. And those are the x-intercepts for this function. For the number 6, you're going to find the x values or you're going to find the x-intercept using completing the square. This question is a unique question. You cannot do it by factoring anyway because if you find 5 on the top, 10 on the bottom, there are no two numbers that multiply to be 5 and add to be 10. So we have to apply another method. To apply the completing the square, you need to have the x term on one side and you're going to subtract 5 on both sides to get 5 or negative 5 on the other side. Now you're going to find the b over 2 square. You can write it as 10 over 2 or negative 10 over 2. It doesn't matter because when you're going to square it, it's going to positive anyway. So 10 over 2 means 5. 5 squared is 25. So you're going to add 25 on both sides. So that's going to be 25 and 25 here. This can be written as x minus 5 square as a binomial square equals negative 5 plus 25 is 20. Now to solve for x, you're going to remove the 2. So you're going to take square root on both sides. So in the next step, you're going to take square root on both sides. And you got plus or minus square root 20. Square root and square cancel. X minus 2 equals plus or minus. You can break 20 as 4 times 5. And you're going to add 2 on both sides. So you're going to get here is, you're going to get x equals 2 plus or minus. If you look at this one, you got here is 4 times 5. Square root of 4 is 2. That comes out of the radical symbol. And square root 5 remains inside. So you have two answers for x values. And those are 2 plus 2 square root 5 and 2 minus 2 square root 5. And those answers are not integers. So that's why we could not find the factor of this one. So you could apply the completing the square or quadratic formula. In this case, it's asking us to completing the square formula. So we had to apply completing the square. If it doesn't say anything on the top here, then you can choose either completing the square or quadratic formula, and that is your choice. For question number 7, find the x-intercept of the function f(x) equals 2x squared minus 3x minus 5 by using a quadratic formula. So if you want to use a quadratic formula, the formula is x equals negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac and divided by 2a. Here you're going to have a equals 2, b is negative 3, and c is negative 5. So plug it in into the formula. You got here is negative of negative 3. Negative 3 square minus 4a, 4 times 2 times negative 5 divided by 2 times 2. Then that's going to be x equals 3 plus or minus 9 plus 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 5 is 40. So that's going to be 40 plus 40 divided by 4. Now you're going to get here is x equals 3 plus or minus square root 49 divided by 4. And we know that square root of 49 is 7. So 3 plus or minus 7 divided by 4. So you're going to have two equations from here. One equation is with the plus sign, x equals 3 plus 7 over 4, x equals 3 minus 7 over 4. So it's 10 over 4, x equals negative 4 over 4. So you got here 2 x-intercept 5 over 2 comma x equals negative 1. So your answer are going to be 5 over 2 and negative 1. Number 8 is saying that you can solve this equation by any method. But if you look at this equation, you see that there is a number in the front. So a is not equal to 1. So the completing the square is going to be very complicated, as well as if you do the factoring, you have to apply it not just a cross method, but cross and box method. So the best choice for this one is also a quadratic formula. So we are going to solve this with the quadratic formula. So we have here is a equals 4, b is 11, and c is negative 3. Plug it in into the formula negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. That's going to be negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4 times a times c. So 11 squared is 121, and negative 4 times 4 is negative 16 times negative 3 would be positive 48. Because you have a negative times negative would be positive. Add them together, you got square root of 169, and square root of 169 is 13. You have two equations from here, in negative 11 plus 13 over 8, and that's going to be x equals 2 over 8 comma negative 24 over 8. So x equals 1 over 4, and 24 divided by 8 is 3. So you have two answers, 1 over 4 and x equals negative 3 for x-intercepts. Now we're going to do number 9 to choose any method, and always we try to first start with the factoring if that is possible. So we're looking for two numbers. When we multiply, you get 14. When you add, you get 12. So factor of 14 are 7 and 2, and if I look at 7 times 2 give me 14, but 7 plus 2 is not 12. So that is not going to work. So it means that we cannot choose factoring method, but we can choose completing the square, or we can choose a quadratic formula. So I'm going to use here a quadratic formula, and that's going to be negative b plus or minus b square minus 4ac divided by 2 times a. So that's going to be negative 12 plus or minus 144 minus 56 divided by 2. So that's going to be x equals negative 12 plus or minus 88 divided by 2. X equals negative 12 plus or minus. We can break 88 as 4 times 22, and after that we are going to break square root of 4 is 2, that comes out, and then you're going to separate them so that you can simplify it even further. So that's going to be negative 6 plus or minus 2 and 2 cancel, square root of 22. So you're going to have two answers, x equals negative 6 plus square root 22 comma negative 6 minus square root 22. And these are the x-intercept for this equation.